This video is brought to you by the EA Creator Network. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's speed build, we are going to be building the War College from the Fourth Wing book series by Rebecca Yarros. It's a bit of a mouthful, but for those of you who don't know the book, this is basically going to be a fantasy medieval sort of castle. So if that sounds like something you're interested in watching, then make sure you grab yourself a drink, a snack, a blanket, get comfy, and let's get into it. So yes, like I mentioned, this is for the book series Fourth Wing. Now in this video there's not going to be any like major spoilers. There's going to be like teeny tiny ones just about like little nods to the characters' personalities, because I did want to give like a little bit of a reference to some of the characters in the book, but it's not going to be like anything big that will spoil it. Like it's the most tiny things, I swear, because you know I don't want to ruin the book for anyone. And yeah, I'm very excited to share this build because I may have purchased the Castle Estates kit just for this build. Was that maybe a little bit impulsive? Yes. Do I regret it? No. The thing with that kit is that it is purely external items, like things meant for the outsides of your home, so windows, spandrels, columns, wallpapers, things like that. There is no furniture in it, so it does feel maybe a little less complete. Well, actually I say that, but most of the kits kind of focus on like interior items, like there's not usually any exterior items, so I guess it's not like too far off for a kit to be focused on just the interior or the exterior, but this is one that's like really focused to just the structure of a build rather than like any of the decor, you know, because we have some other outdoor ones, but they have like a combination of like exterior items and then like furniture. So if you're not like an avid builder or someone who enjoys doing larger builds or just really spending the time on the exterior of a build, then this pack is probably not for you. But I am one of those people who loves doing the exterior. Doing the exterior is my favorite part, so I think this kit was pretty much in my wheelhouse. I definitely could have made it work with some other packs, but the reason that I really wanted to get this one is first off like the fence, because it really tops off like the buildings nicely to actually make it look like a castle, and secondly is the wallpaper, because you'll notice that I'm able to create this really cool gradient. Basically there's one wallpaper in this whole pack, but it's got like 3 swatch variations per color, if that makes sense. So you have like your pristine brick, then you have a brick that's slightly charred, and then you have one that's fully charred. And I really wanted the charred wallpaper because this book is about dragons. And so I couldn't resist, and yeah, it was very impulsive, but I had the itch and I wanted to do it, so I did it. And yeah, I think I will get use out of it maybe at some point. I have been in a major fantasy just kind of deep dive recently. I mean, that's not abnormal for me. I love fantasy stuff, but recently I have been back on my Baldur's Gate grind. My boyfriend got me that game about a year ago, but my computer is a little poopy, so, or I should say was, because we'll get into it, but I got my new PC. I'm so excited. But basically my old PC, it could run it okay, but I also just didn't have the time to really like lock in and play it. But now I have, and I have been, this is maybe slightly embarrassing to admit, but I believe 2 days ago I spent about, I don't know, maybe 9 hours on the game, just straight, with the exception of pausing to eat lunch. I was really into it. But basically, if you guys don't know what Baldur's Gate is, it's essentially like D&D, but as a video game. So it's really awesome, and it's like open world, and you get to make your own characters, and you get to like romance some of the characters, and you get to just explore and like look for things, and there's so many side quests along with main quests. It's just it's such a fun time. It is a very well made game. But basically for my character, I made her a siren type of girl. There's not really like a mermaid class or anything, but I tried to make her look like a siren or whatnot. If I can remember, I'll put a picture up on the screen. But then you, in the character customization, you also get to make this thing called a guardian, which is like basically just another person that you can customize. I still don't know the purpose of the guardian. No spoilers. If any of you played Baldur's Gate, please don't spoil anything. I've you know, dedicated a lot of hours, but I'm not even like close to scratching the surface. So, you know, keep all spoilers to yourselves, please. But yeah, so for the Guardian, I made him a sailor because, I mean, I just think I love the trope where it's like mermaid falls for sailor or sailor falls for mermaid, but she's like an evil siren instead. But yeah, so that's my Baldur's Gate rant, but all of that's to say is that I've very much been in a fantasy headspace because I've been reading this book, I've been playing Baldur's Gate, and then on top of that, very, very, very exciting news, fairies. The Sims 4 is getting fairies. I don't know if you saw the pack, or the trailer for the pack, but basically it's official. The Sims game fairies. Everyone was kind of speculating. I had no insight on it, just so you guys know. Like, it's not like I was trying to keep anything from you. I literally didn't know if it was true or not until the trailer came out. And so now I am very excited because I don't do many fantasy themed builds, but honestly, after doing this one, I might just, because I really want to create some sort of elven city with all the items that we're going to get from the fairies expansion pack, because I've seen some of the windows and they look really nice, and I've seen the cabinets, and I'm very excited because it looks like you can make some really whimsical stuff and play around with the shape of things a lot. So I'm super excited for that, and I'm just, yeah, I just want to build everything like fantasy related or like whimsical these days. Now, don't fret, I will come back to my realistic suburban homes because those are my tried and true, but I might branch out just a little bit these days because I still want to get videos up for you guys, but there is not much that I want to do other than play Baldur's Gate and read this book. So I had to find some kind of happy medium, so bear with me while I go through this little fantasy phase. Hopefully you won't mind it too much. I'll try and break it up with other content, don't worry, but if you do notice that there's an increasing amount of more whimsical fantasy builds, this would be why. But yeah, about the actual book, let's talk. I'm not going to spoil anything, so don't worry. If you guys haven't read the book, also no worries. I mean, you might not follow a lot of this, but I'm sure it'll still be juicy regardless. But basically, my opinions on the book: do I think it's the greatest book of all time? No. Do I think the main character is really annoying? Yes. But did I read the whole thing? Yes. Something about the writing style was also a little bit hard for me to kind of adjust to. I think it's because I was reading like a really good book right beforehand where the writing just flowed. I think basically what I'm trying to say is that the writing was really well done in the book that I had been reading, and then I switched to this one and it felt a little clunkier. I mean, I still got through the book, so like it is doable, but I think it just took me a little bit longer to lock in on this one. But the main character kind of really annoys me, but I don't know, I eat up the trope that's in this book, and so I finished the whole thing, of course, but there is some things with it where it's just kind of expected or corny, I guess. And sometimes it feels like the book is written purely for the relationship plot and not much else. And that's okay in some senses, but you know, it's a little, I guess, underwhelming at some points. All that to say, though, is that the ending was very good. I very much enjoyed the ending, and it really kind of picked up at the end for me. And so now I'm very excited to start the second book, which I actually have started the second book. However, I got it from my library, but the only copy available was the large print version. And the way that the text is formatted on that page, I can't do it. I can't read it. Well, I mean, I can read it because the font size is abnormally large. I know it's meant to be large print, like there's a reason that this print is large, like there's some people who like to read at this size or have to read at this size, which is totally okay, but for myself, I just, something about the visuals of the large print really just, it don't work for me. It don't work for my little Illustrator design brain. So I am waiting for the other copy, but I'll make do with the one I have right now. But yeah, so I maybe only like 15 pages in on the second book, so no spoilers, and no spoilers about the third book either, and no spoilers about the first one. I know I've read the first one, but other people might not have, and I don't want to, you know, ruin the book for anyone. And yeah, basically, on the topic of spoilers, I actually got the first book spoiled for me when I literally had 20 pages left. What I was trying to do is line up having the second book ready at the library so that I could just, you know, seamlessly transition, but for some reason when I was looking for that, it spoiled the book for me. I don't even know how that happened. I didn't even like search up anything related to like how the book ends, I was very upset because the ending is really good and it would have been so impactful if I didn't have it spoiled for me. I mean, it was still impactful, but yeah, it definitely took a little bit of the jaw dropping out of it, but that's okay. Also, as a note, I've redone this voiceover so many times that I'm not actually sure everything that I have said, because I feel like I've said something, but then I realized I might have deleted it. So if there's any repeat things that I'm saying in here, please forgive me. I feel like I have the mental capacity of a goldfish right now. But basically, this is not the actual War College for those of you who have or have not read the book. This is meant to be, well, my build is a very miniature version of what I imagine Violet Sorrengail's castle would look like, her like mini castle. And Violet Sorrengail is the main character of the book. So the War College is meant to be like this massive castle structure thing with so many different wings and towers and turrets and all of that. But I am building on a 20 by 15 lot, which is meant to be these ancient ruins in the world of Windenburg, which is the world we got from Get Together. And this is where your Sims will kind of like throw parties, and like your Sims can call up or other Sims can call up your Sim and be like, hey, do you want to come to this party at the ancient ruins? And then go over and there's like a DJ and a dance floor and things like that. But I wanted to build here because all around it is ruins, of course, like castle ruins, and I felt like it was pretty good scenery for the type of build I was going for, but the lot is very small, so I couldn't do much. So this is basically just for Violet Sorrengail. Like, I put little nods to the other characters in there, but this is what I'd imagine, I guess, her house to look like if she had one. So for the exterior of this build, the majority of it is the castle estate kit in combination with vampires and maybe a touch of Discover University. I only say that because I'm not sure if the dormers are Discover University or vampires. I'm fairly certain they're vampires, but I could be wrong. So the outside is primarily castle estate kit and vampires, because the two complement each other really nicely, because it's more of like that gothic or like old architecture style. And so I'm really happy with how that came out. And I have to say, I had so much fun doing the interior for this. Now, if you've watched my videos, you may know that I am primarily an exterior lover. I like doing the outside of a build. I like the structure of it. I like doing the landscaping, all of that. However, doing the inside of this was super fun because I got to use a lot of different items that I don't really get to use in my standard builds because I typically do more realistic homes. So it was really fun to go just like complete 180 and do very fantasy related stuff. And I really like the color palette. It's gold and black for reasons that I will not say, but essentially those two colors are very important to the main character. And so that's, since this is meant to be like her castle, I tried to use primarily that. I wanted it to be like all black with touches of gold. Now, black is meant to be the thing that the people at this college wear. At this college, there's different, I'm gonna kind of break it down for anyone who hasn't read the book, but there is different, I guess, sections that you can enter. So basically you could be like a scribe, which is like their historian, and they keep records of like past and present, and like sort of almost like librarians as well. And then there's riders, which is what she's training to become, and those are the people who ride the dragons and kind of are on the front lines of battle and whatnot. And since there's dragons, I wanted to make it look like there is a dragon sitting on top of this castle, because I mean, that'd be really cool. And so what I did, I'm actually so incredibly proud of what I did, because there's not many dragon items in this game. There's like this one wooden sculpture thing, which I do end up putting on the fireplace, which I will mention when we get to it, because there is a reason for that. But yeah, it doesn't look good sized up, like it doesn't look like an actual creature. And so what I did, I'm not sure how this looks in live mode actually, so I should probably test that. But basically I found this debug bat from Vampires, and it came in both a black swatch and a white swatch. And so what I did is I sized it up like a lot using the right bracket key, and then I put it on top of the left turret. And then I found this piece of debug wall art, which we got from Businesses and Hobbies, that you can make with the pottery skill. And I tried to find a black swatch, but they didn't have it, so I went for this white dragon instead. And I just took it, I sized it up really large, and then I put it on the wall, and it looks like the tail of the dragon. Now, you have to ignore the fact that the bat has ears, and you have to ignore the fact that it's actually a bat. But looking at it from the front at the correct angle, I think it could pass as a dragon, and I'm really happy with that. I just wouldn't look at the back of this build, which I mean is okay because there's literally nothing to do on the back of this lot because there's no space, it's just landscaping. And I don't know if the tree ends up covering like the bat's face or whatnot, but you can't sit there and tell me that it doesn't look like a dragon, at least a little bit. And if you don't think it looks like a dragon, don't tell me because it'll crush my spirit. I'm just kidding, it won't actually, but I was pretty happy with like this makeshift beast that I came up with. So yeah, that's what that is supposed to be. In case it wasn't clear and I'm the only one who thinks it looks like a dragon, it's meant to be a dragon. Taking a break from the book stuff for a little bit until I move on to the inside and kind of explain what I did there, I want to give you guys some personal life updates because there have been a lot of exciting things that have happened to me since my last speed build. And speed builds are usually where I catch you guys up. Long plays are not always the most relevant because I kind of have to film those like over a span of time, so I can't like, I don't know, give you as up-to-date information. Like it tends to be a little bit dated. But basically, my new computer is here. And she is gorgeous. Once again, if I can remember to put a picture, I will. But it's really beautiful. It's got those RGB lights and they're customizable to an extent. Like there's different variations, but I can't like narrow it down to the color wheel. However, with my new PC, I finally have Windows 11. And with that, if you have like any RGB like keyboard or mouse or anything like that, you can completely customize the color of it with like the whole RGB wheel, like literally any color, any hex code you want, you got it. And on top of that, you can make like gradients or different patterns with it. It's so cool. My mind is blown. I'm just like sat there playing around with it for, I don't know, hours. I'm still on the fence about the color palette I want to go with. Right now I have it kind of matching my PC, so it sort of looks like a sunset. It's like a gradient from like yellow to pink, and it's really pretty. And my setup is really coming together because today I also got a monitor stand, so my stuff is finally propped up because the desk I'm working at is extremely narrow and I really just have no space. So I got a monitor stand, so hopefully I can like tuck my keyboard under it and things feel a little bit more spacious. It's still pretty crammed, but you know, I'm making do and it definitely helps a good chunk. And yeah, so my computer has been great. It's running things amazing. I can run Baldur's Gate at ultra graphics, which is very impressive because that game has some really gorgeous graphics that will kind of tank a PC if it's not of too high quality or that new or anything. So it's doing really well with that. I haven't noticed anything too different in terms of my export time for videos and whatnot. That still takes forever, but that could be more of a Wi-Fi thing because I don't have great Wi-Fi. But that's my update on my computer. I love her dearly. I know one of you wanted the specs to it, which I will link them in the description if I can, or I will go back and find your comment. I'm very forgetful, but I will try my best to. Yeah, it is a custom build though, so keep that in mind. Now in other news, I have graduated. I'm so happy to say that I officially have my bachelor's degree and I graduated with honors, and I'm very happy that I finally got to walk the stage because I think I've mentioned this like once before, but I graduated high school during COVID, so I didn't get a graduation. It was a YouTube video and it was really depressing, especially because I am someone who very much loves academic validation, and I did like really well in high school and I didn't get, I guess, the recognition I was hoping for with all the awards I won. So it kind of hit hard, but I'm happy to say that I finally walked the stage, and I think I blacked out during it because I was just so excited, but also really nervous because it's a lot of people. And so, yeah, I only vaguely remember walking it, but all I know is that I had to fist bump the president of my school, which is not typical. I don't know if it was a time thing or maybe a germ thing after COVID or whatnot, but I didn't get to shake their hand, and I'm a little upset about that. Mainly if it's a time thing. If it's a germ thing, that's one thing, I totally get that. But if it's a time thing, I feel like that's kind of cheap because I mean, I just worked my butt off for 4 years and I don't even get like 1 extra second to shake the president's hand. Not, when I say president, this is president of the school. I go to Canada. I don't have a president. I have a prime minister. This is just president of my school. But yeah, so there's that. Maybe once again, I'm just gonna put up all the pictures, aren't I? If I remember, maybe I'll put a picture of myself at my graduation because I'm very proud of it. And yeah, one thing I will say though is that my diploma is so underwhelming. Now, I went to a school that is very renowned for their arts programs, and there is many a good designer in my school, and yet somehow the diploma looks like garbage. I'm really sad about it, but I think I'm going to try my best to frame it really nicely. And honestly, I might just redesign it myself and then print that out and then put the actual one behind it and then put it in a frame. That's kind of my solution, but you know, I'll get to that in a little bit. But I think at least framing it would help, even if I don't redesign it. But maybe I could do that or something pretty with like the mat in the frame. But yeah, so I graduated, I got my new PC. I also went off to a cottage and that was super fun, and I got really sunburned. I am very pale. I am like pure Scottish roots, to my knowledge at least, and so I burned very easily, and I fell asleep in the sun without putting on sunscreen, so you know, it was bound to happen. Thankfully it didn't really peel or anything. It left a little bit of a tan, which is a nice change. But yeah, that was that. Also, some other exciting personal news, if you guys care. I realize I'm saying all this, but you very well might not care. You know what? On that subject, let me know down below in the comments if you remember. Do you guys prefer if I like talk about like personal little life updates, or if I just talk about the build? Because I'm always on the fence. I don't know if like my life is really interesting. I don't really do anything, but also I don't know how interesting it is to hear me say I'm using this item from this pack and this item from this pack, you know? So you guys let me know which you would prefer, because I can always, you know, tone it down with the personal stuff. At the end of the day, it'll be whatever I want to share, but if you guys have no interest in personal stuff, like I'll definitely, you know, scale back on it. But anyways, that was just a little tangent. My brother is coming to visit today. I'm going to pick him up from the airport in maybe like 20 minutes. So that's super exciting. I haven't seen him since his wedding in the fall, so I'm very excited. He's going to be here for a little bit. He's coming down for my dad's birthday, and we're actually surprising him. He doesn't know that this is happening. Well, actually, I think he might. Low-key, I think my grandma spoiled the surprise, but either way, I think it's still nice. But then we're going to have a little birthday bonanza for him on the Saturday, so that'll be super fun. And for his gift, I have 3 siblings, so all of my siblings and I were making these like vinyl covers for him based on like songs that remind us of him and whatnot. And I'm pretty happy with how mine came out. I think it looks quite nice, but I'm kind of a little bit close on the printing schedule. I just sent it off to Staples, like fingers crossed it's prepared in time. But yeah, I don't have too much time to go pick it up because tomorrow is my boyfriend's graduation, and then Saturday is like the actual event. So I'm kind of rushing to get everything done in time, but I think I'll be able to do it. Worst case, I'll just pick it up morning of and kind of, you know, run away to the basement for a little bit to kind of work on preparing it. But yeah, pretty happy with how that came out. And I think that kind of does it for my personal information, my little life update. So now let's get back into what's happening right now, which would be the build. And yeah, so you can see we have started the interior decorating now. Once again, very happy with the interior decorating. It took me a little bit of time to kind of figure out, I guess, the color scheme and the styles, because I didn't know if maybe I should go a little bit more adventurous with the colors on the inside, but I opted not to. There's some like slight drops of color here and there. Basically, I went black, white, and gold with touches of purple because her name is Violet and violets are purple. And so that's why there's a lot of purple flowers and whatnot. And yeah, so there's only like very tiny nods of purple because I wouldn't say that's like a major color in the book, but I felt like I needed to give some sort of nod to her name. Now, I did include a TV in this, but I used one of the picture ones that we got from a rewards event, and I did it in like this fall swatch. I don't love the swatches on this TV, but I felt like it was yellow, so it worked a little bit for that gold feel. And then to make it feel a little bit more fancy, I put a picture frame around it and then used the tool mod to put like the actual picture behind it. But it should still be functional, so no worries there. And then what else did I do there? Oh, in the dining room, you'll notice that there's this little like mixing station, if you will. Basically, Violet is very intellectually smart, and she knows a lot of stuff, and she's like big into research and whatnot, and she knows a lot about plants, and she uses that to her advantage. And that's as much as I'm gonna say, but basically I wanted there to be like a little mixology station for, you know, herbs and ointments and things like that. And then so I also kind of brought that back into the kitchen, and I put like these debug plants and whatnot, and these cute little, I guess, herb potted plants from the kitchen clutter kit, and I thought that was nice. And then I used this base game furniture set in terms of like stove, oven. Stove and oven is the same thing. Stove, fridge, and sink. And then the cabinets are, what are the cabinets? Oh, the cabinets are for rent. And then I also use this lantern, which I think is from Growing Together, but this shade of gold feels very fantasy and whimsical to me. And then in combination with that, I also wanted there to be a little bit of blue to kind of reference Xaden, who is the other main character in the book. And blue is like an important color for him, which you find out why in the book. But yeah, so I wanted there to be like tiny touches of that as well, just as like a little reference. And I really liked using these urns, kind of morbid, but I mean, they look just like really pretty vases, so we'll just pretend that there's not like ashes in them or anything. And then also, that reminds me, in the living room on top of the fireplace, you may have seen that I put dragon sculptures. Now, if wooden dragon sculptures, there's this character in the book that whittles like wood and whatnot. I don't think it's as like a stress thing. I think it's just like a side hobby. But that character whittles these wooden dragons for Violet, the main character, and there's 2 of them, so I put them on the fireplace. Now, if you guys have read the book, you'll understand how happy I was to find those in and realize that I could add them into this build. Yeah, so I added those, which was a really cute tiny detail that I enjoyed. And then now we have come on into the bedroom. Now, this is just a 1-bedroom castle. A 1-bedroom castle, imagine that. I used like a lot of ornate looking stuff, so a lot of like vampires, but this bed is from For Rent. I wanted to use the vampires bed, but the swatches weren't really what I wanted, so I went with this one because it still felt a bit more fancy, but not exactly the style I wanted, but I may do. And then I used this rug, which is from Paranormal. It's very yellow, but I felt like it looked a little bit golden with like the pattern that was on it, so I went with it. And I really like this little dressing situation she's got going. I really like the rug I chose. That's a worn one that is from Vampires, which has the purple and the gold, so it's perfect. And then the mirror is from the Basement Treasures kit. And what else? Oh yeah, also this flooring that I'm using is actually from Businesses and Hobbies. It's a concrete flooring with this pretty like floral decal on it, and I thought that was very nice. So I opted for that just to kind of break up the stone texture a little bit, but still have it feel pretty, I guess, fancy, I guess. And then the lights are from Paranormal. Gorgeous. These lights always feel very fantastical to me, so I put those. And then the end tables are from City Living. I used to be obsessed with these end tables. I would use them every chance I got when I, first got the pack. I think City Living was maybe my second DLC that I got. I could be mistaken on that, but I just remember the chokehold that these side tables had on me. And in terms of lighting, I tried to keep it restricted to like candlelight only. In the book, I guess the lighting, they're called mage lights. There's not really a description of what they look like, but I'd imagine they'd just be like candles that could be turned on and off with like the snap of a finger sort of thing. I also imagine that they could be blue, but that's not really, that I didn't want it to feel cold in here, I guess, because I feel like the stone already makes it cold, so I thought I'd warm it up with like a bit of flame. And flame is also important because that's like the section that Violet is in at the college. The whole breakdown of like the sections, the units, the quadrants, that whole thing took me so long to wrap my head around. And I will say one thing I like about this large print book is that it actually has like a chart of how to like break it down. That might also just be like a second book thing, but I didn't see it in the first book, but it's very handy because I still get confused. It's got like a whole breakdown of, it's not a family tree, but I guess just like a chart or a graph of how everything's broken down. And I can also see the map a lot better in this one, because originally the map was on like the end papers, so the middle got cut off, but this one is like a little bit easier to see. And it's also like a really gorgeous map.